Thank you, guys. It's really, really awesome to be here. One quick elephant in the room. If my eye looks a bit red, I do have a sty. It's like those weird pimples you get in your eye. I'm not just high up on stage or anything. Like, higher than you, but not. That's how just stages work anyway. I'm really embarrassed I have to explain that to you guys. Sorry. So, you know, one thing I've noticed that Aussies love doing is shortening words, right? And shortening things as much as we can. I know one trend, got Valentine's Day coming up, right? And V-Day is coming around, like, hey, you know, coming up, this and that. But I feel like it's a bit of a dangerous path to go down, don't you think? Because once you keep going there, and next minute you're asking your mate, hey, how was your VD yesterday, right? Opens up whole other conversations, and then kind of like, oh, it was so sweet, she had all these beautiful love hearts all over her, and I'm just standing there going, oh, mate, I don't think that's what they are, but probably get tested, maybe. I've got a lot of different great options for social media these days. Seems to be a new one popping up all the time, right? And some people get so frustrated because there's just too many options. But personally, I don't know, I love it. How great is it? We've never in our time had so many different options and so many different ways to send a dick pic. Yeah, he knows what I'm talking about. The only problem you have, right, the only problem I have anyway, is trying to decide whether when I want one of those classy Instagram filters, right? Or maybe I want to jump on Snapchat, give it a little like puppy dog face or something. So we had the US elections lately, yeah? A bit of a joke on their own, really, but it's right? I don't even need to say anything much more. I love that one of the most interesting things this year was that finding out that Bernie sits on chairs. That was pretty cool. Do you remember, like, 4 years ago, and the biggest joke then was an Oompa Loompa running for president, right? And everyone thought it was hilarious. They were just like, oh, this is such a joke. There's no way that's happening. But then the punchline kind of just never came. The whole time in this last election, I was just waiting for out of the curtain, just like, whoosh, oh look, it's Ashton Kutcher, and he's just announcing it's his longest running promotion ever for a reboot of Punk'd. But it just never happened though. It's like all that anticipation for such little, I don't know, it really made me feel for all my exes, that's all I'll say. But, you know. God. I guess on that note, it might be hard for some of you to believe, but you know, unpaid amateur stand-up comedy is not my full-time job. I know. So I'm a chemist. I work at a lab. I test drugs. You probably already figured that much. No, don't worry. On a good day, it's like one for you, one for me, because it's all machines. And because half of them are antidepressants, Mondays are just bloody awesome. It's great, yeah, I love them. It does make me dubious, though, when you see on the news and they start talking about scientists, right? And like, it's always the most insane things, like scientists say that eating ice cream cures cancer, or scientists say that shoving a frozen cucumber up your butt might increase your chances of catching COVID-19. I thought the same thing, right? Well, there goes my bloody weekend. It does make me very dubious though, because, you know, anything scientists say is instantly true, and I'm a scientist, so I have to be very careful with that kind of power. But I also thought, one of the little things I've heard about the pitfalls of becoming a comedian is that if people hear this, they'll instantly expect you to like just crack a joke, just be funny. Like, tell me a joke, go ahead. But can you imagine, like, well, you guys, imagine if you have to take work home, right? That's ridiculous. Do you think I go home and get asked for drugs? I mean, between the eye and living in good, no, it's probably a bad example. But you know what I mean, though, right? It's ridiculous. Oh, God. So, I was in Japan a couple of years ago, and it was such a beautiful place. Like, the people were some of the most friendly and respectful I've ever met in my life. It was great. And I thought I'd try out checking out one of their onsen, those traditional Japanese bathhouses. And yeah, they're all naked ones, which I don't have a problem with nudity or anything like that. I do feel, though, that I'm doing the world a bit of a favour by not blinding them, but with how incredibly white I am. But, you know, thought I'd give anything a go. Why not? As long as I just keep my eyes forward, eyes to myself, she's all good, right? But let's face it, when you're wandering around, you can't help but just maybe glance at your surroundings, make sure there's nothing you're going to trip on, anything like that. And maybe, just maybe, right, some stereotypes are just like they're just like a little bit true. And maybe, right, I have never felt more confident in my life. My voice was instantly an octave lower and I was going through a second puberty. It was just great. Although, to be fair, right, even a bonsai could feel pretty proud amongst a sapling, right? But, God, there was just, honestly, that needed some pruning. There was way too much foliage. That poor sapling was definitely not getting enough sunlight. Oh, God, yeah. So I'm not gay. So, just feels like the next thing that should come out of my mouth. Don't get me wrong, though. I'm not saying that defensively, right? I think I'm actually a little bit disappointed, right? Just think about it, like all of the sleepovers that you're missing out on, all of the wasted pillow fights and nip slips and stuff. That probably defeats the purpose, but that's how it works in my head, so I'm just going to keep that one. But if we're being real too, right? Sorry, but who's going to know their way around a dick better, honestly? They can see the forest for the trees, right? As well as the bonsais. So, but unfortunately for me, both a throat swab and my tongue cleanser have kind of ruled that out for me. Unless if I move to Japan. No. I'm dairy free, right? Luckily not the messy kind. Sorry, mate. It just affects my breathing and my sleeping, right? And when you say you got interrupted sleeping, it's a weird way of announcing to a big group of people that you're bad in bed, but here I am. And being bad at breathing is just, what's up with that? But luckily, there's a lot of options these days, right? There's all these vegan options, and often I'll be like, sure, I'll just take the vegan option, that'll be easier, that'll be good. But I'll also very quickly feel the need to just follow up with like, but I'm not vegan, right? I'm just to clarify this. Because vegans just love announcing to the world, don't they, that they're vegan and just make you feel bad for living. Like, I'm vegan. Until I smell bacon. But otherwise, I also found a really, really great little perk lately. Because when people are panic buying during the pandemic, right, the first thing to go, all of the milk and bread, say goodbye. Like, it's gone, it's out the door. But luckily, when people get up to there, and they're looking at all the options, and there's only a couple of things left, and they're like, if I've got the choice between nothing and like the vegan option, or heaven help you, like gluten-free, they're so much more inclined to be like, yeah, no thanks. I'm just going to eat toilet paper instead. I can wipe my butt with all of this excess bread that I've got. Oh, thank you very much, guys. You have been pretty great.